are, now veterans of competitive Hearthstone as far as I'm concerned. Viper, world's runner-up not too long ago. Bunnyhoppor, a championship winner, arguably one of the best players, if not the best player in the world. And then you look at the other two players we have in the relegation gauntlet, which is, A-Rock and Warmer, two brand new GMs to this season. So it's such a stark contrast. I don't know who I'm worried about more, honestly. The newcomers who might get bopped out in the first season, or, some true titans of Hearthstone that we have in the form of these two players right now. So a lot on the line, as you mentioned, but let's get right into it, Sottle. Bunnyhoppor on the top, on that Priest, going up against Viper's also Priest. So gonna get up to a good old-fashioned Priest mirror for these players.
Because why not, Raven?
I mean, Bunnyhoppor, last match of the day, Priest mirror, all those three things seem to gel together for me.
Yeah. It's fine. We've been spoiled by the Blythe versus Casey series up until this point in the Europe broadcast. We have a bit of time owed, I think. We can dig into a Priest mirror. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, time mode if you count today only.
Yes.
If we talk about the whole season.
Yeah.
If you've been watching the last few Casey and Bly's games, you can take a few breaths, because this is more of a, maybe not relaxing, the wrong word, but the pace definitely takes a step back.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like I'm going to have to adjust quite heavily here. Just
same.
I've been even outside of the games, I've been noticeably to myself speaking so much faster today because I've been forced to during the game, so it's then hard to break out of that when we get outside of the game. Very weird.
Yeah, we now have to dip straight out of the mindset of play-by-play casters and go back into good old-fashioned Hearthstone casting.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I'm never a play-by-play caster.
Let me just load the VOD between Casey and Bly's. And Going studies here from Bunnyhoppor has some good options, honestly. I'm personally a fan of Onyx Maze Tribe just because it can come down quicker.
Yeah.
Than the Skeletal Dragon, and I think 2 spells generally is better than 1 dragon.
2 spells better than 1 dragon. Yeah, sure. I can get on board with that logic.
Mm-hmm. Differences in the list, though. Bunnyhoppor is running the 1 Twilight Drake, and Viper is sticking to his guns. Not only 2 Twilight Drakes, but 2 Cabal Shadow Priests in his list as well. So Bunnyhoppor only playing the 2 one-offs there. What has Viper cut for those? Oh, the Cabal Acolytes, yeah. Not got 6 health, not worth it, Sol.
Yep. Just does not play Cabal Acolyte in his deck. Fascinating.
Although I respect a Cabal Acolyte, I think the card is still powerful. I think I've said to you every week, I've seen it now, but sometimes stats are good, and I think we forgot.
Yeah.
Twilight Drake's just insane. What does your opponent do? They have to, generate a silence.
Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of the meta now, right? Where everything is just kind of has enough stats. Like One Maker, it's a 2/2. It's enough. It can at least be competitive on board while doing insane things by generating you nutty 1-mana spells, which, is the basis of Priest and Mage and so many other things. But, no one else is just really playing massive stats on curve. So, yeah, when you just drop a Twilight Drake as a 4/8 on turn 3 or turn 4, everyone's just like, wait, you can do this? That's legal? You can play something that big this early?
I do want to do an experiment. I'm not sure which class I'm going to try or which classes I'm going to try it with. But I'm going to try and build just the most on-curve deck of best minions and just see if I can win with it. Because it has to win a good portion of games.
You are describing Highlander Hunter, Raven, and it did not work out particularly well for Firebat.
Got a couple of games under my belt with that deck. It's true, right? You've just said a 2-mana 2/2 is enough stats. Have you heard of River Croc?
Right.
It eats that up.
Right.
Get some Millhouse Mana Storm on the go.
I mean, if you're going to commit to the bit, then I'm supporting you, okay? If you actually have Millhouse in your deck, then I'm interested. I like this curve, by the way, from Viper. This isn't the most obvious hand to play, but I do like going Lazul here first, because you get the card replaced in your hand. You can even put a Cabal Acolyte in your deck, because I heard they're quite powerful. And then on the next turn, you can go Cleric of Scales, Twilight Drake in the same turn if you really need to. because obviously you want to get the value out of the Cleric of Scales. Potentially, now don't get me wrong, some people do say you still don't draw in the Priest Mirror, which I'm not necessarily on board with, but we'll see if that's the case here for Viper or not.
Yeah, that's it, right? Just obviously, if Viper knew he could get hold of another dragon, then maybe the curve changes and he slows it, well, speeds it up with the Twilight Drake and slows it down later with Lazul. But yeah, I think overall this just looks clean.
I was kind of trolling with the Cabal Acolyte because I kind of dismissed that pick as just always Soul Mirror because I don't think I've ever passed a Soul Mirror in the Priest Mirror in my life. Viper took Onyx Mage Scribe, huh? Okay. Oh, Priest Mirrors are great. I don't honestly, they're all so fun. What do you even do? It's the same decision. It's the exact same decision.
I must consider.
I'm taking the Soul Mirror.
I want the Infinite Mage Scribe.
Quickly.
What if you just played an army of Onyx Mage Scribes against Priests? Is that not insane?
It does sound kind of good, yeah.
Because then you just raise dead your Azul and do it again for a third one.
Okay. Bunnyhoppor is a man of culture.
Well, we knew that. I don't think we needed a Soul Mirror pick.
No, that's fair. It's good information as well, right? Because Bunny now knows what the Lazul card was, because there's no other way he would have an Onyx Mage Scribe in his hand. So now he's seen that. He's actually gathering good information about what some of the randomly generated cards are.
Raise Dead seems way too good here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Draconic Studies, again. If he wants to play the tempo plan, then getting the dragons out is good, but he can raise Dead with good minions, right? And keep the tempo plan that way, and have a flexible spell. Is he thinking whether he wants to, like, one Maker this turn and then raise Dead with Mage Scribe next turn?
Yikes.
Is that a yikes? Because that's a bad suggestion.
I'm very averse to any suggestion that does not put a big old Twilight Drake in play this turn.
Oh, I agree. You know I like Twilight Drake. I'm not be upset with that. I'm just wondering if there was ever a consideration to hold to get the Mage Scribe down. The minions are of similar size, so I guess there's not much benefit, right?
Yeah. I think the fact that you can trade a Lazul and then just raise Dead the Lazul straight up is good enough. You take it there.
Yep. To get another Onyx Mage Scribe.
Bunnyhoppor doesn't have the decision to make now at this point. Well, he kind of does, but like technically he's been given permission to play Cleric of Scales because his opponent played Cleric of Scales. There's a lot of dynamics like this in Hearthstone history where if both players just tacitly agree not to do something, then neither of them really feels like they want to go first. But as soon as one player does it, the other player feels free to do it.
So the Druid conundrum.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly
that?
what I was thinking about. Yeah. But yeah, with Cleric of Scales #1 already committed by Viper, Bunny knows he has the freedom to at least draw one card here and stay even on fatigue. But again, going back to what I said 2 or 3 turns ago, like I think it's kind of nonsense to say that you shouldn't draw cards in the Priest Mirror because it's a very, very tempo-based matchup these days. Even if it does end up going to fatigue or close to fatigue, you will normally see the player who has been ahead on tempo for the majority of the game come out on top when you get down to that position, and you can quite easily offset being 1 or 2 cards ahead in fatigue if those cards have helped you maintain tempo throughout the mid-game.
Couldn't agree more. For me, if you're playing Twilight Drake in your list, then you're not playing a slow game plan. I think you do want to play for the board. Even arguably the Draconic Studies, you want to like throw dragons down, right? You're not trying to get the most sort of long-term control value out of everything. You want to be winning that board.
Right.
Here though again, Viper. Decide what he wants to do. He's running out of time. Yeah, in case you didn't know, if you're new to Hearthstone, this is the rope. You'll see it a lot in this match. You might not have seen it in any of the others today, but you'll see it a lot in this one. Get familiar. The sound is fine. It's one you're going to hear a lot. Slowly slipping away here for Bunnyhoppor, though. Viper's just about keeping control of this board. We can see, of course, and Bunnyhoppor is aware of, and Onyx Mage Scribe can come down on curve if Viper wants it to. Which is just yet another barrier Bunnyhoppor's going to have to get through this game.
It is true. I like this choice. I think Wave of Apathy was probably the #1 thing he was looking for and has not found it. Since he has that Cabal Acolyte in hand, he could just about start paring down this board state to maybe isolate one large minion, and if that Onyx Mage Scribe did come down on curve, he would have the big punish with the Cabal Acolyte. Might even be enough here to make Viper, think twice about making that play, though, because he saw the Cabal Acolyte in Bunnyhoppor's hand, and he's seeing a bunch of 1-mana spells get generated and spells get discovered. Although now, he sees the discovered spell get used, and one of the 1-mana spells that got generated get used as well. So it's actually a pretty close call as to whether you would feel safe here, just dropping a huge high-value minion solo on the board.
It's tough as well, because we can see that there's just a second go of it, isn't there, with Cleric of Scales, number 2, in hand for Bunnyhoppor. And he can Cleric, still go for Wave, get Wave, and with Cabal. And with this Apotheosis on the Spellkin, it's likely that Bunnyhoppor can bully out this board, especially it's just a 2/2 along with that Mage Scribe.
I think it's too risky in general, though. Like, especially, so you've seen the Cabal Acolyte, right? So if you turn the Cabal Acolyte face up in your opponent's hand right now, they could have Wave of Apathy in their hand. Any of those 1-mana spells could be Wave of Apathy. They could also have second Cleric into Wave of Apathy. They could also have Raise Dead into the first Cleric into Wave of Apathy. Like, there's so many ways they can just hit you with Wave of Apathy this turn when you know they have Cabal Acolyte. I don't think you can play Onyx Mage Scribe this turn.
Okay, then what can you play? Because the rest of the turn looks rubbish otherwise.
Right. I know. But
Okay, here's my question. Can you play it? Because then you can answer with Soul Mirror and you have 2 of them.
But okay, that's a good point. I'm on board.
It's because if you don't... like, this looks the most mediocre to potentially bad turn I've seen for a long time. And that's not a go at Viper. That's just the extent of where his hand is at right now.
I do kind of want to have a go at Viper, though, because he picked the Onyx Mage Scribe, and so obviously, like, I trolled with the Cabal Acolyte at the time, but that was my second pick over the Soul Mirror, which I certainly would have taken. Now, I know he hasn't put Cabal Acolyte in his deck, so clearly he doesn't value it particularly highly, but he already had the Wave of Apathy in his hand. You look at the situation there if he had Cabal Acolyte instead of Onyx Mage Scribe. 2/2 into 1/1, steal the other minion, like, you're just in business, right?
Maybe there was the assumption that the Twilight Drake on his side would have controlled the board enough to get the Mage Scribe down safely. I do think, however much over the season and over the year, I guess we've gone on one way or another about Priest Mirrors. I do think they're potentially very punishing for misplays. I think it's one of the mirrors that you do end up losing out a lot if you make a misplay, don't get the most out of something, feed your opponent something like a good Soul Mirror. I think you do just lose a lot of the time if you do something like that. So very tricky.
If you kind of want a clinic on the Priest Mirror, I will give a recommendation you can find in the YouTube VODs here on the Hearthstone Esports channel, and this is a recommendation to you as well, Raven, that you should watch this match, because I know you don't catch that much of America's. Nalgadhan versus Rami. Nalgadhan absolutely took Rami apart in the Priest Mirror. It should have been one-sided in the other direction, because Rami had the Galakron list, and Galakron on 7, and Nalgadhan had no Galakron, no value in his hand for most of the entire game. But Nalgadhan just played super aggressively for tempo the whole way through and absolutely took Rami apart. It was one of the most impressive things I've seen in Grandmasters this season.
I'm aware of the game, haven't got round to it yet, but I was aware. I not the first person I heard said good things about that game from Nalgadhan. Here, the Viper on the back foot. Bunnyhoppor managed to land a Twilight Drake of his own. And now this is, again, just the benefit, isn't it, of Twilight Drake? Like, what do you do to kill it? And if you can't kill it, does your opponent just leverage it to continue to win board? Like, that's the idea of the card in this deck, at least.
Right. So Viper here does end up dropping the Mage Scribe, but at least gets to activate his Spell Burst first, so that he's not just passing that over to the opponent. But now Bunny is in business, and this Wave of Apathy that he has finally been able to get his hands on is going to put in some work this turn, I'm sure.
And you like the Cabal Shadow Priest, right? Like, that just looks insane to me.
No, I kind of like the Cabal Acolyte, I think.
Why is that?
Because this is the board state that Cabal Acolyte works on, whereas Cabal Shadow Priest works on any board state.
Okay. I was just more thinking about what puts the most power and beef on
bigger.
the board.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Yeah.
You know, I'm a simple guy, Sol.
Yeah.
If there's a bigger minion I can play that does the same job, I'll play the bigger one.
Yeah. You do get to heal the Twilight Drake with the Cabal Acolyte line, though, which is relevant.
That is true. That is true. Either way, this deal's huge here for Bunnyhoppor.
Yes.
Full control of this board. And the problem is, it's not exactly a good Murazon turn either, is it?
It actually kind of could be because of the Whispers of Evil, specifically.
Oh, that's true. That is true, actually.
Yeah.
And you can do it last.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I actually wasn't even looking at the Whispers. I apologize.
For those not following along, he'll play Murazond and he'll get a Cabal Acolyte of his own with the spell burst still active, so he can then just rip the spell burst with the Whispers of Evil, potentially just steal that 1/9 right back, but that is only a 1 in 3 outcome, of course.
And so when in this mirror, when both players are digging for multiples of Soul Mirror if possible, at what point do you take an okay Soul Mirror?
It's doubly weird when you know so much about what your opponent's resources are.
Yeah.
Like, everyone has stolen these soul mirrors from each other, so everyone is well aware that there's soul mirrors on the other side. Viper does have the Murazon, though, which is quite often the kicker, and he has no real indication that his opponent has a Murazon right now. So I think if this does just go soul mirrors back and forth, Viper comes out ahead from his perspective. And I think that's a good, like, branch of logic to go with, is like, okay, I have Soul Mirror, I know my opponent probably has Soul Mirror. If we just Soul Mirror back and forwards until everyone runs out of Soul Mirrors, who wins? And if the answer to that question is you, go ahead and Soul Mirror, and make your opponent do something else, because you have the inevitable conclusion.
And I think that, although this is definitely not base just advice to always go by, Viper's losing this game, whereas now he's necessarily not losing, but he's not losing as hard, right? He has something to work with this turn. Whereas if he did anything but Soul Mirror there, I think the Murazond, although okay, would have still been risky with the Acolyte just stealing a 1/1, for example. This at least puts him in the game, right? In the mix.
None of those cards say Apathy on them. Both Cabals in hand, he really wanted to hit another wave of Apathy here for the coming turns.
So do you think it's Lazul now, just to go fishing and get some new information?
Yeah, I like it. That's huge. I mean, it's not a good pick, but in terms of knowledge, that's huge, because that's 3 of the random pieces of garbage in your opponent's hand that could have been anything.
I think the only thing bigger would be the news on the second Soul Mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still, Bunnyhoppor again just ends up ahead on board, but now Viper's in a similar spot as last turn, but he has an Onyx Mage Scribe on board that can attack, which is a lot better. He could actually Soul Mirror this board away if he really wants to.
He could indeed, yeah.
I must consider.
His Raised Dead pool is starting to get very diluted, and will continue to get more so as he starts throwing these Soul Mirrors out.
Diluted with pretty good cards, though. I don't think there's any, random whiffs in there. I don't think.
No, I'm not saying it's getting weaker. It's just I think Raised Dead is at its strongest when you are playing it to hit something very specific and have high odds of doing so.
Yes. Yeah, it slowly turns into a sort of power card to a value card, doesn't it?
Yes.
At this kind of point in the game.
Right.
It's still good. It's just not it's not insane. Viper is just going to pull the trigger on that Soul Mirror number 2, clean up this board, and again, like I said, he does end the board positive now. So it cost him 2 Soul Mirrors, which is a hefty price to pay.
Yes.
But he is not getting beaten up by a wide board by Bunnyhoppor now, so it's something. And like you said, he still has that Murazond.
These are the hardest positions to be in because Bunny doesn't really have great plays here apart from discover a big minion, play a big minion. And we saw that's how Viper got in the position he'd been in for the last 3 or 4 turns where he was fighting from behind because he had to have a turn where he just played one big minion. And then the Wave of Apathy combo just kind of blew him out of the game for a couple of turns. But Bunny's hand really doesn't do anything else right now.
And the problem is, the Onyxia pick can play it, but it makes his raise dead really bad.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
He's gonna raise dead now.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. You had better raise dead, Bunny. Okay.
Yeah, okay, okay.
Okay.
Bunny, I don't want this to be one of my famous "if the player the bad player and then they do it" things.
Yes.
not in a relegation gauntlet match. No chance. Viper's like, Morazon? Do I want an 8/8?
It's pretty good, right?
Free raise dead isn't bad.
Free raise dead is definitely pretty sick. The problem is like you're playing 8/8 plus 8/8 into your opponent's double Soul Mirror hand, where you know about at least one of those at this point. Seems kind of sketchy. Like your other minions are reasonable, but there's all of these 1/1s that can just clean up the breakpoints really nicely on all of the other minions. So I think it's a little bit sketchy.
This is why these mirrors are hard, right?
Yes.
Because at any point, one of them can just mess up. and you've got so many options, it's very difficult to get what you think is even a good option, never mind the best option. Viper's going to make this Space Scribe quite large, though. The Snap Mind Control pickup. Something we see too often.
Kaja's trades and heals. Okay. Heals face as well. Interesting. Not committing to making this minion any bigger. That was really interesting because not only did he not apotheosis it, which obviously would have been a much cleaner trade on the Onyxia, but he then just didn't heal the minion either.
I mean, he knows, right? This makes the return Soul Mirror better, doesn't it?
Well, I don't necessarily think like it's straight up wrong or anything, because again, one big minion in play is a problem for all of the Cabal plays. So it's definitely something that you can think about.
Wave of Apathy will allow a steal.
It will. I think on that specific turn, it doesn't really make any sense for Viper to be playing around that kind of stuff, because if the wave combo was going to happen, it'll steal the Kaj anyway, right? It's not going to steal the 6/8, I don't think.
I don't know, Sol. I see some trades happening.
Right, but no, by which I mean, like, okay, you're stealing the Onyxia, sure.
Right, okay.
But you wouldn't necessarily just steal the 6/8 over the 8/8. I don't know, it's interesting. Horizon, easy. Saw the mind control as well. Yep. Saw the mind control.
And the Witchy Lackey as well, so he knows what the Lackey is. Which is, again, because it's Witchy Lackey, it's not so impactful, but at least he knows it's not Spell Lackey or Rush.
That's fair.
I do feel like Bunnyhoppor is just on top of this one, honestly. Double Soul Mirror still in hand is huge, and he's winning on board. Is this like weirdly mind control time?
What do you mind control? The
Yeah,
1/8?
Yeah, get your 8/8 back.
I guess. I mean, again, you have that same Murazon setup, right? Where you get a Cabal Acolyte and a Wave of Apathy, and then you get to activate it, but there is a million 1 health minions on the board, which doesn't really feel great.
Well, Bunnyhoppor didn't do too much that turn. So is this the turn where he can just spend his turn just getting that 8/8 back, which is what Bunnyhoppor did with most of his turn? It's tough.
Quickly.
You're so far behind, though.
I think
You want
he's
to be
behind no
ahead
matter
when you
what.
mind control. Like, mind control for me in the Priest Mirror it's just another Cabal Acolyte combo, right? Where, you know, you play minions, they have to play minions into you, and then you just mind control their minion and go phase.
Now the Morrison he got from the last one.
Yeah.
Oh, can he trade all this away? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, you can trade into the Mage Scribe. Just get the guaranteed.
It's not very good, though, is it?
I mean,
It's kind of good. I'm really greedy. You are in like when it comes suddenly as soon as
he
it comes to
already has
Priest
2
Mirrors.
Soul Mirrors.
As soon as it
Already
comes
has
to
2
Priest
Soul
Mirrors,
Mirrors.
I'm just the greediest
Oh my
man that ever
God.
lived.
How'd you ever win a game? You never want to play a card.
Yo, my Priest Mirror win rate is insane. Don't at me. Hits the big one. Interesting that he did it first, and he's now using this time to debate the trade versus going face.
I would have actually just assumed. Was he thinking of where to put the heal? Surely not. I would have assumed this would be a snap face then, because otherwise you would just trade first.
Exactly, yeah. If there's a decision to be made about whether you trade after you steal it, you would have just traded to it first and stolen the big one. Yeah.
No, here comes Sethic. There is Wand Maker plus Apotheosis as potential spells.
On wings of destruction they come.
Got to be death.
Has to be. Yeah, no other option. Sethic will come down now to try and start the chain. He's going to need more of those. Forbidden Words does not currently kill an 8/8.
Kills the 2/2 though. Yeah, the 2/4 though.
Ooh, that's so frustrating. Shadow Word Ruin one off, but he does at least get to trade through with the Apotheosis, as you were saying. Not out of it yet.
Hear me out, Sal.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a Soul Mirror turn? You kill off the Sethic, and then he gets to Apotheosis a minion with a Sethic on board. He clears off the 8/3 and keeps hold of the whole board.
Can do that same thing just with Cabal Shadow Priest, though. You just Cabal Shadow Priest the Sethic, and then just Apotheosis one of your minions for the trade. See if you can get a little mini Sethic train of your own going at the same time. That's what I'm looking at here.
Okay.
The other option is same thing, but with Mage Scribe, and then you sack your Lazul into the 8/3, and then value trade over the Sethic with the Apotheosis on one of the other minions.
Quickly.
But I want a Sethic.
Yeah, I think we can both agree on that.
Let me change your mind.
Let's get sold the Soul Mirror, which generally is a good thing to do.
Bunny, I
All
hope you
Soul
get
Mirrors
hope
the
you get
best.
like 5 Power Word Shields here. Oh,
Just one
really?
mind
He
control.
Apo'd the Sethic. Okay.
It makes it a better shape overall, right?
Yeah.
And also, he doesn't need the heal. He loses the damage, but his opponent's on 30. Like,
Yeah.
is the damage for that turn a problem? I like it.
Well, you could also argue like he gave up a 3/2, right? Like he could just have another 3/2 on the board right now. How relevant is that? Certainly interesting. Not really a line that I considered at all on that turn. Which, you know, as I was making fun of Bunny for roping, Bunny shows why he ropes.
I do think this board looks better than a board you would have if you did it the other way.
Yeah.
You don't pick the one, see?
I want to see the evolve on this 3/5. Just to get it used up, get the card out of your hand. You do want that space. I don't think a renew this turn is going to change too much.
Mm-hmm.
Not a bad upgrade, honestly. Red Infernal. Mind control, let's go. Nice minion.
The Apotheosis value trade is just too monstrous here, right? I think.
To play Mage Scribe along with that? Or is that a bit too much of a committal?
could.
Would it generate too many spells, actually?
Yeah, so I think you
I'm
start
like, wait
with,
a minute.
you start with Apotheosis, because I think if you can Sethic Chain this turn, you do Sethic Chain. And then even after that, you still have 7 mana available, so you can still go Mage Scribe Draconic Studies if that's not going to overdraw you at that point.
I wonder.
Which it is, so let's not do that. But I think all roads start with Apotheosising the 4/5.
Must consider.
Apparently not. Of course.
It's just all priest mirrors, which are Draconic Operative.
Is this the right way around to do it? I disagree with this. I feel like doing it the other way around was better.
I just wanted to mind control. Just like Pyroblast, 10 mana spells.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Raven solution. This turn's too hard. This card costs all of my mana. I'm going to play that one.
He's got a good card. I want that card. Isn't that what Priest's all about?
Yeah. Interesting. See, activated Mage Scribe with Draconic Studies first. But why?
Might have not needed to cast Apotheosis. Right.
You hit Shadow Word Death, yeah.
It might have changed anything as well, potentially.
Possibly.
Wave of Apathy.
That one's bugging me, as you might be able to tell. I'm gonna be tunneled on that for quite some time. All you, Raven. Go ahead.
Okay, so no mind controlling then, so I'm a little bit stuck for options here.
Wow, all of Viper's cards seem really cheap and non-mind controlly.
I mean, he does have Wave of Apathy and Cabal Acolyte, which means he can steal at least on a mediocre minion because he could have guaranteed kill the 1/1.
That's right.
Wants to be a little bit more greedy with it.
Yo, Soul Mirror's back.
Soul Mirror number 3 for Viper. Soul Mirror number 4 for Viper. Soul Mirror number... No. It's actually ridiculous, isn't it?
Yep.
He's played 2 and he has 2 more. These are legendary spells. It's supposed to be one-ofs.
You mean like Evocation?
Yeah, I agree. Make legendary spells not dupe. Would anyone be unhappy with that outcome? I don't think so.
Mage Scribe number 2. Likely going to come down here for Bunny. Alongside Holy Smite.
Plague's actually a big deal as well in Bunnyhoppor's hand. It's a card that you see often, like Highlander potentially win games off the back of in the late super late game, as they have that sort of snap AoE clear if they're falling behind. Bunnyhoppor might not need it, but pretty good that he has it because he still has access to a ton of stuff.
I was going to say, why are you pointing that at the 4-8 instead of the 4-9? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Glad we got there.
Jeez. Bunnyhoppor has one rough weekend last weekend of play, and Saul's just questioning everything he does now.
Earning my trust is easy. Losing it. No, earning my trust is hard. Losing it is easy.
There you go.
Speaking is also hard.
Yeah. Subtle with words is hard.
Yeah.
Your mind is not your own.
Usually quite good at the old words thing. It's disappointing.
Welcome to my world.
Dance, puppet. Dance.
Wait.
What? What's confusing you? Do you want me to explain it to you? I'll speak
Okay, yeah,
slower
go
if you
ahead.
need to.
Actually, I'm really lost. Yeah.
So he stole it and made another.
Okay, great. Thank you. Got it.
He also had a soul split. Is that what it's called?
What? Unsleeping Soul?
Unsleeping Soul, same thing. Surprise, surprise! Priest mirrors send us a bit loopy. This is so weird now that the game is kind of revolving around 4/9s for everyone.
Yeah.
It makes it difficult because the cards you would normally go for don't look as good anymore because you've got to try and kill 4/9s all the time.
Yes. Shadow of Death, Shadow of Ruin, all that kind of business. Not really as effective as you might hope. Initiation is pretty absurd, but Wave of Apathy is Wave of Apathy. Wait,
Sweeping the Sethik?
this didn't achieve anything. What? What's
You should have
happening?
done it the other way around, right?
What
Wait,
happened
there's the
this
Wave of
turn?
Apathy! Quick, cast it! Before the spell burst goes.
Did he think they were still 1/9s? Did he think he had a... Like, I don't understand that turn at all. What did he achieve?
I don't know. I don't know. I've got nothing, mate. I think either way, he had the shield before the initiation, right?
At the very least, yeah. But I don't even necessarily think that, like, the turn he played was the right turn. But if he was going to play that turn, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Tricky times all around. Like I said, when the game ends up in some form of tavern brawl style where both players just have unlimited 4/9s, it does start to get a little bit strange. But yet again, now, there is a Wave of Apathy on Viper's side to go on with a Cabal Shadow Priest. If he wants to steal away another 4/9 here.
Yeah, and we are fast approaching Act 3 of this Priest Mirror because pretty soon the resources are going to be exhausted on both sides, apart from just these huge removal bombs that they both have available, and they're just going to be trading those back and forth.
Is Act 3 called Le Fatigue?
No. It's called The Dance of the Infinite Soul Mirrors.
Oh, okay. Sounds lame.
Okay, Unsleeping Soul is available again, just in case we needed some more 4/9s in our life. It's actually kind of a big deal because it does actually buff the attack this turn as well.
Yeah.
And it's a targeted spell for the Sethik. Alternatively, you could just press Plague and just give up on this board state.
Well, I'm wondering... Okay, planning this game out. Once, it's difficult. But what if Bunnyhoppor starts off the Soul Mirror Wars? And if he ever loses that fight, because we can see that there's 2 Soul Mirrors in Viper's hand, he then presses Plague. Like, does he actually have the stuff to win the long game? Maybe not. It's outside this Twin Tyrant. And those Soul Mirrors, of course, his value isn't really there.
By the way, you can start to see why people cut Galakron from this list at this point, right? Like, at what point has either player looked like they were running out of value? Like, never. Please take Galakron out of your priest decks, thank you.
But yes, okay. I think that is not particularly a term you can use generally. I think in Grandmasters, of course, fair. But I think in general play, players don't play like this in the Priest Mirror a lot of the time. So I'm saying for viewers, right? I think there's an element, if you're playing on ladder, that Galakron can get work done. Because I think some of it does is based on how your opponent also chooses to play the mirror.
Sure.
But yeah, as you can see, both players, plenty of cards in hand without even having time nor space to press that hero power with Galakron. Bunnyhoppor did go for that Soul Mirror, so now it's all back on Viper again, and we get the Wave of Apathy Soul Mirror interactions till the end of days right now.
Yeah, because this is weirdly threatening lethal right now from Bunny's side.
And the weird part is there even really much Viper can do about this? Like, Soul Mirror doesn't kill anything. Oh wait, he's dead. Morzan just... What did he play there? Soul Mirror and heal, was it? Was it Soul Mirror second?
And the wave
the
as
wave,
well.
Yeah, the wave.
Yeah, the wave is actually a big deal because it resets the turn timer, essentially, on when the Wave of Apathy cooldown happens. Which is a very big deal because it means that none of these minions will be going back to full strength on this turn now for Bunny. They're all still 1 attack, which means Viper's not really under too much threat here.
Yeah, because it's really tough, isn't it? Because of the Soul Mirror, the mirrors on the play from Viper. Is there ever a time where Bunnyhoppor can consider this plague?
Oh, I really don't want to plague my own minions, though.
Well, he's losing out on the opposite end now, isn't he? That's the problem.
He is, yeah. He's
just as much as it was lethal last turn one way, it's now lethal this turn the other. Yeah,
yes.
Bunnyhoppor doesn't have a wave of apathy.
Yes.
I guess he can.
All of those words which you speak are accurate, Raven. Doesn't mean I have to like them.
It's true. You do something with like Pyro Silence? Probably not, right?
No, I was just looking at that kind of stuff as well. Has to do it.
Yeah.
You chalk that one up as a victory for Viper, though. Like, Bunny is not going to be happy with the way these last, say, 3 to 4 turns have broken down. Pretty much since the turn where he initiated the Cabal Acolyte, that's when it seemed like things have gone downhill for him a little bit. It's now left him in a position where he's kind of used a Soul Mirror to try and fight for board, and then ended up Plague of Deathing away his own Soul Mirror, if you want to look at it in a very weird way of what's actually happened.
Yeah, plaguing away their own setup, right? Sort of thing. So now there's just a 6-12 Sethic on the board here for Viper, which again, Bunnyhoppor does have to answer.
Probably just press Mind Control here. You'd be fairly confident, I think, from Bunny's side that Viper has a plan to deal with that, but just let him initiate that plan, you know? Yeah.
It's the best time to play the clunky card, right? There's 1 minion on the board. You can make it on your side of the board, so take it. It's pretty high value.
Yeah,
I like this.
Alright, what if you transform a Soul Mirror into a Sethic this turn?
And then
how do we feel about that? Yes.
Pretty good, honestly.
I wonder.
Because you just asked Bunnyhoppor to match, or Viper would ask Bunnyhoppor to match him then, in being able to deal with a Sethic, even though it's smaller, it doesn't really matter. And I think that's something I would like to be on the in front of, right? Like, you want to say to your opponent, okay, now I've got the big Sethic. Can you kill this? Because I definitely can. There's 2 Soul Mirrors and a Death in hand and a Ruin. I think Viper's got the resources to utilize here. Even though it like costs him 2 removals to kill this, but he gains the Sethic. I like it.
Yes, I really like this play. Oh my goodness, if any other card except Unsleeping Soul could appear, then this would be ideal, but
it's going to be a really good combo for Twilight Drake.
Yes. Sign me up. Shadow of Death off the top for Bunny. Psyche split?
It's got to be Unsleeping Soul, isn't it?
Something never passed a Soul Mirror in my life. I kind of want the Psyche split here, Raven.
Yeah, at this point in the game, I agree.
So good.
He can cast it with Death. That's what pushes it over the edge for me. Like, he still has the mana for Death, which is huge.
It's going to overdraw him enormously, but...
who cares?
Yeah.
Going to overdraw him by getting good cards in his hand, a lot of the time, at least.
Right. Apo and Mind Games? Okay.
And also, he could have had it not overdraw him as well, if he wanted to, right?
Wait, how?
Well, couldn't he have just Death first?
Death before he Psyche split? What does he then Psyche split?
Oh, on that minion. Okay. I mean, he could Psyche split his own. He could.
No, technically possible. If you wanted a much smaller minion for no reason, you could do that. You're absolutely right.
I will repeat my statement.
Yes.
He didn't have to overdraw if he didn't want to, Sossel. Point out the incorrect parts of my statement, friend.
Nothing incorrect. Just moronic.
Well, it's my speciality, isn't it?
Yep.
We call argue with it. You can just be disappointed.
Yeah, we call it the Raven Zone. That's what you operate in. Not technically wrong, just really, really stupid.
Yep.
Minions remaining in Viper's deck Twilight Drake and Cobalt Spellkin, just in terms of that mind games from Bunnyhoppor.
Yep. Gonna get a Shadow Word Rune down now and just a steal, and these where it's kind of interesting, isn't it?
Oh!
He didn't have to burn a card, Sottle. Just saying.
Is this the hill you want to die on, Raymond?
He doesn't have a Murazan now, maybe.
Yeah.
For me, I was just gonna say it's kind of funny now that it's gone into this. We're in the mega late stage, right, of this mirror, of course. And instead of players, both players like chucking down big boards of minions and like clearing them up and soul mirrors left, right, and center, we've now just gone all the way down into like the wet noodle fight of like, what have I got left? Is this like four Twilight Drake? Let's go. So I guess one thing that can be a little bit different with players that do choose to play Galakrond is that generally they can get hold of slightly more consistent, better minion-based resources at least.
Yeah, I mean, if your opponent gives you the freedom to spend 2 mana pressing hero power on a lot of turns, which I actually think is pretty rare in Priest Mirrors these days.
Oh, yeah, I agree. It's just one of the differences, right? Whereas now both players have to work with what they've got, and that's about it, as opposed to some of the bigger outcomes of Priest Mirrors, Galakrond that you can get.
Was this not a Pyro clear turn? I felt like this was a Pyro clear turn.
Could have just Breath as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you could, like, Breath, Pyro Nova, or the other, like, whichever way. It didn't matter. Well, you had a dragon in your hand, so...
I thought it was just going to go Breath and then Twin Tyrant.
Right, sure. Yeah, that works too.
So you can just end the turns of 4/10 on an empty board, right? That looked pretty good to me.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, his thinking is kind of alongside that same debate line that we were just having, where he does still want to have a Pyro clear available, so he kind of took half a clear that turn in order to, like, preserve his AoE for as long as possible. I think he's pretty smart.
And it's just another Onyxia in Bunnyhoppor's hand.
3 cards remaining for Viper, I believe, are Spellkin, Renew, and Draconic Studies. It's a little bit unfortunate that our tracker gets a little bit wonky when Raised Dead is involved. So specifically for Priest Mirrors, when you really, really, really want to rely on your deck tracker, it goes a bit berserk. But I believe it's Spellkin, Renew, and Draconic Studies left remaining for Viper. Last 2 cards now for Bunny. I believe are the Twilight Drake and the Wand Maker, but I think that's less impactful because I think Bunny has just about everything he needs in his hand currently to be able to round this game out now. Unsleeping Soul is much more effective in his hand than it is in Viper's, with him just having a vanilla 4/10 minion right now. This could also just be the turn to initiate that Pyromancer clear. Could be all of the above, honestly.
Yeah, that's there's so many options here. I'm actually trying to work out what even the Pyromancer clear would look like, because there's even options there.
Yeah. Yeah, because he still has a dragon, he can go like Pyro, Breath, Holy Nova all in one turn for 6 damage AoE, which is pretty sick.
I was even working out if there's a good way to, or if there was a good way to say like Pyro and get the Apotheosis on the minion, but I think this is a 4/10 is actually way, way, way better.
Yes.
And of course, if he wants to Unsleeping Soul it, then yeah, it's not going to work with you Apotheosis at first, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is the Wand Maker.
So what Wave of Apathy would actually be very solid here, just to protect as much health as possible on these Twin Tyrants?
Wave would be very nice, yes.
Let's have multiple goes at it as well with that Spellkin.
I must consider.
Bunny is that half card ahead in Fatigue. Behind, whichever way you want to look at it. He is fatiguing first by 1 draw step. Which means he does have a little bit of pressure on him to actually force the initiative here and end the game, but I honestly think he has such an overwhelming abundance of resources in comparison to his opponent that he will stick the last minion here in almost every scenario. So the fatigue pressure shouldn't really be being felt too hard by Bunny. I think he just needs to preserve his board clears as far as he possibly can. Just play the control role, and I think he will eventually stick a minion once Viper is out of stuff to do.
Yeah, I think it's a fair assumption on Bunnyhopper's side as well.
Almost out of cards.
Wiping out a renew.
Yeah, renew, last card, Draconic Studies. Not seeing
Viper
it.
just does he just have to Soul Mirror?
I wonder.
You can Soul Mirror. They all go in. The trade can go down. You can actually use the Smite. Maybe the renew gives him something as well to kill off the 6/10, or he has to power the 3/5 in.
Pyro Smite after the Soul Mirror, but that doesn't deal with the rest of the board.
I just think this board is about as good a Soul Mirror as Viper's ever going to get. And although it's not clean, it gives him something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he clears this board, like, what if Bunnyhoppor just never plays a minion now until like the last turn or so, and then it's just too late? I don't know.
Right.
It's kind of strange, right? Maybe Pyro Soul Mirror. Cleaned up pretty nice, actually. Pyro getting the double proc. It does leave Viper with something, like we said, of course. This can be cleaned up, no problem for Bunnyhoppor, but Viper had to do something. Look at his hand, right? A Radiance and a Renew and an Unsleeping Soul. Like, if he didn't do it then, he's just going to lose. And, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Has this just been an abundance of Draconic Studies from Bunnyhoppor that has got him to this spot?
Yeah, Draconic Studies have done a lot of work, but I think also his mid-game was just a lot more solid. There was a couple of turns where he did get into trouble, but he had such an abundance of resources at that point that even throwing away the Plague just didn't really end up making that much of a difference. I think from this point, he knows he is dealing with 2 random cards plus Renew plus Draconic Studies, so it should be fairly easy to solve this game down from here. And I'm fairly sure it starts with Breath of the Infinite to clear up this board state nice and perfectly.
Looks pretty straightforward to me. And now Viper's probably going to cast Renew, see if it's the Soul Mirror, and then make his decision on whether he wants to continue in this game. Oh, I guess Draconic Studies could dig him out.
Yep, Draconic Studies, Dragon
Deathwing.
Queen Alexstrasza, Draconic Studies, Kobold Spellkin into 2 more Renews. These things that do things. And I don't think Twin Tyrant quite fits the bill. Okay.
Oh my. I don't have any cards. Can I have his?
Can I borrow some cards, friend? Just coming around for a cup of sugar. Excuse me, neighbor. Can I borrow some Soul Mirrors?
A simple spell should do.
Now, Bunnyhoppor has to put quite a lot of thought into what that mind vision means. At this point, Fame, this is not a game he wants to lose. He is winning.
So 1 out of 7
plays
cards. 1 out of 7 times it was a completely dead card with the Mind Games. 1 out of 7 times it was the total Hypernuts with the Soul Mirror. Everything in between is largely negligible. Holy Smite is something that you can keep in mind and at least, attempt to play around. But yeah, I think the smart thing to do here is just to do the vanilla good thing, which is largely biggest minion go face.
Yeah, it's not like he doesn't have the answer anyway, right? If it's Soul Mirror, then Bunnyhoppor has his own Soul Mirror, and then an Ixia. So even if you solve it down that way, it's his second Mind Games that's going to be the spicy one.
Viper sat here thinking, well, the more cards my opponent plays that aren't Soul Mirror, the better chance there is of this mind vision getting the other soul mirror.
Yep, that's the one Bunnyhoppor didn't want to see. There's also just Renew on this Skeletal Dragon as well, which could help out quite a lot.
There is also on Bunnyhopper's side, and there's also a fatigue clock to be thinking about. Viper does have the Radiance as well, though, which I guess is a very big deal.
Bunnyhoppor has the Amber Watcher, though, as well.
Oh! No way. No way. Can Viper actually beat the fatigue clock now? Can he kill everything and just win on fatigue?
Wait till he mind visions the Amber Watcher, Saul. That's what you're talking about.
So he still has a mind vision, which can still hit the other soul mirror or the Onyxia. Does he ever find the turn where he's ahead to actually play Onyxia first? Oh! Oh, no! Absolutely not, Raven.
Yes! Deathwing. My other favourite 10-cost card.
What has the last 45 minutes been for?
Entertainment value.
Ah, yeah, okay, you're right.
Bunnyhoppor renews into Draconic Studies into his own Deathwing, and that's the way he wins.
Gift of
Kind of.
Luminance.
Mind Vision the Deathwing.
Mind Vision the Deathwing, of course. We have to approach that issue. But Gift of Luminance is just actively insane here, is it not?
Quickly.
Like, forget about duping your dragon. Just the Divine Shield on this turn is insane.
Right. Yeah.
What? Really?
Let's go do this and use Smite to punch through, right?
He still gets another
Let's
dragon
close the
this
board.
way. Yeah. Okay.
Gets two.
Okay.
Ah!
What? Yeah.
My other favourite
Sounds!
10-cost card, Caligos!
Noises! Words! Exclamations!
Oh, just a reminder, everyone, this is game 1 of a best of 5 series between Bunnyhoppor and Viper.
Honestly, would have marked out so hard if that was a second Deathwing. Oh my god.
Dragon Wars. Someone give Kibler a call, he'll want to watch this.
Was there a world before that Deathwing, the Bunny's Deathwing appeared? Was there a world where he actually lost to the Deathwing? I think there was, right?
Yeah? Yeah, because as soon as he plays Soul Mirror, right? There's no guaranteed way for him to kill it, and then it's just a 12-12 when he's behind on fatigue as it is.
Yeah. That would have been unfortunate.
But hilarious.
Also, yes.
Thinking about heal over Radiance, there's very little point healing the 4-1 because it just dies on board regardless.
You do know there's a Pyro and a spell left, though. Well, I guess... Do you know there's a spell? I'm assuming that's a Sethic card at this point, so I guess you should know it's a spell, but hard to keep track of these things, obviously. Certainly know about the Pyromancer, if you're keeping track. It's just a natural card. Or is it a Raised Dead card?
So, 3 words for you. Don't ask me.
Looks like I'm here
Yeah.
just in time.
The Amber Watcher gonna get some work done that'll make Bunnyhoppor's Skeletal Dragon not die here, which is huge.
Yeah.
To push some more damage, putting forward the threatening board, and Saul, I've got one question for you. Is the Deathwing turn? Alex Strasser. Sorry, Onyxia first. It's maximum value.
Feels like he needs to see some of these threats come out from Bunny so he can Deathwing them away.
It's Malygos as well. Or the Caligos. Any of the ghosts.
Any goose you like this turn.
Yeah. Any member of the Goose family is welcome. Like, what if he just gets Nova? He just wins.
Yeah.
But he could get Nova from Caligos.
The fate of the world hangs in the balance.
Okay.
Raised dead? No, penance.
Raised Dead seems a little counterintuitive since you already have the value advantage over your opponent.
It's got to be Rune, right?
I must consider.
Does it?
Not move quickly.
Well,
What's
no,
Bunny's
it's
board state
minions.
right now? Does he not have a minion? Okay, no, he doesn't.
No.
All right, fine.
And this clears up the 1/1s as well. It just empties
Yep.
the board, right?
Yep.
Oh, shit, this is sick.
For some reason, I thought he had a 6 attack minion of his own or something. Okay, Skeletal Dragon, best Hearthstone card world.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Now Bunnyhoppor just play, just
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
Rope, and then
Rope,
Deathwing.
Rope, and Deathwing. Yep. We all know the line. Bunny.
The response. That's so funny. Oh. Okay, even Viper, small chuckle. He knows this game just turned into I don't know what. Dragon Wars.
You have best.
Not the way we normally see Priest Mirrors go, but Bunnyhoppor is going to take a victory here in that. See both players, I think, relieved for that to be over. I think even Viper. I think it was one of those games where no matter who won, both players would be relieved because that was a very odd ending to the mirror that we do not normally see with just dragons after dragons after dragons battling out.
Yeah, and I think that Deathwing, it would have been crueler if Bunny had lost to the Deathwing because he did go into that situation so overwhelmingly in control. And you saw Viper off his last 3 random effects got Soul Mirror, Deathwing, and still lost. That's kind of how far behind he was in that position. But Bunny did kind of need to generate an extra answer himself towards the end. But I think up until that point, there was a very, very interesting Priest Mirror. It didn't get ridiculously clowny on the levels of generated stuff. I mean, depends what your standards are these days, I guess.
That's true.
I still think, throughout the mid game, it was still very heavily decision based. And Bunny largely had the better of that exchange. I also think his list is just a little bit better for the mirror match as well because the Cabal Acolyte steals just can be so backbreaking.
Right.
So I think Bunny came out of that one a deserved winner in the end, but honestly, who can remember everything that happened in the last 50, 55 minutes, however long that actually ended up being?
Not me. Most importantly, though, after a game like that, it is scheduled in anyway, but I would have asked for one regardless. We are going to go to a break because I think everyone needs one before we dive into game number 2 of this series. And just remember, this is one of those relegation gauntlet matches. The loser is not out, but the winner does become safe. So a lot on the line here for both these players. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to continue our Grandmasters match.
With the ability to clear Alan's board and put him to 3 health, Possessi seems to have a very easy turn with his Demon Hunter, but he sees something deeper here. If he clears the 3 health Lucent Bark, it can be resurrected for the full 8 health minion later on, and he'll struggle to ever get through it. But by holding back on the Blade Dance entirely, he forces Alan to use the Crystal Power without resurrecting Lucent Bark, a very disciplined line that led to a well-deserved lethal.
Just second slice hero power Blade Dance, you got to push 5.
Oh,
is he holding on to it?
really?
This might be really smart, right? Because if you leave the Lucent Bark dead and then it revives and you don't have Blade Dance in hand, then you have to sink the soul shard into it next turn. So maybe the play is just set up for a bigger Blade Dance with the Lapidary next turn.
Okay, that is smart. I would not have seen that straight up.
I thought it was fine to Starfall those 2 minions and then Crystal Power. Okay. Right from the very beginning of holding Blade Dance, before it was not even lethal yet, I think that shows incredible understanding of how much time you have to play with when you're the Demon Hunter here. The Druid is not killing you until they actually show you the damage face up on your board, and then you can react. And he did it perfectly.
A seemingly innocuous play from No Hands Gamer, but with a level of subtle brilliance. Despite not having a dragon in hand, No Hands Gamer plays out his Cleric of Scales, threatening to kill Shadow Jeweler Hanar next turn with Holy Smite. This then forces Just Saiyan off of playing the Secret in order to kill the Cleric, and although No Hands surely wasn't planning the end, Madame Lazul offers a somewhat comedic ending with a self-activating Vendetta. More very strong technical gameplay from No Hands Gamer this week.
Without this, a 1-mana 1/1 do nothing off the battle cry is pretty atrocious, to say the least. And I think No Hands, by playing this, is actually messing with Saiyan a little bit. He's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Why'd you play this? What if I just dagger and kill this 1/1?
Because otherwise, there's just absolutely no chance that he kills the Shadow Jewel Hanar next turn. So, giving himself the chance to, if Saiyan does play Secret here, but Saiyan's like, there's no reason for me to play a Secret. If you're just going to give me a free kill on a 1/1, sure. Well, I'll just take it.
Right. I mean, Saiyan got to kill a card in No Hands Gamer's deck for basically free.
Yeah.
It took 1 health to do it. No Hands finds a Vendetta, which is, I mean, that's just playable now, and you can kill Hanar now. He really thought for a brief second about maybe having something else, but this is just too good to pass up. Wow.
Look at Saiyan, he's like, okay.
While Swids may have been known to miss lethal once or twice in his time, he's more than made up for it now with this very clever lethal against Silvername. By utilizing Animated Broomstick to give rush to his Violet Spellwings, he finds just enough damage to finish off the mage with their own arcane missiles. What else would you expect from Priest?
I think this makes sense, though. You just drop the Shadow of Death, you deal with the problem, you're still massively ahead on board, you push face. Unless it's a prime or a second box, you're probably feeling like this one is absolutely locked up.
Yep, unless.
Oh, is he
Wait. Actually, this is lethal. Shadow of Death, triple arcane missiles. This is actually just straight up lethal.
Wow, that's actually pretty sick.
Swids,
Okay,
you have redeemed yourself. For all of those really obvious lethals you missed earlier, that one makes up for it. Because we didn't see it, you did, my friend. You score 1. Well done. That was a sick lethal. Beautifully done by Swids.
That was actually pretty cool, yeah.
Tom's been keeping on top of his Hearthstone interactions homework as our former world champ devastates Tyler's Gambit with Magtheridon. In order for Magtheridon to activate, it needs all 3 Hellfire Warders to die, and as Tom quickly realizes, Witchy Lackey transforms, but does not kill its target. And then, much like 16-year-old me on a school day, there is literally nothing that can wake it up.
Oh wait, prep Deep Freeze next turn. That sounds really good.
Deep Freeze.
Yeah.
It does mean there's no Jandis available, but I guess actually board space was just not there.
Yes, play the mag to deny the Jan. Oh, he can evolve one of the wonders! Oh my god! Hello?
Oh, that's so illegal!
That's brutal.
Magtheridon is unable to activate for the rest of the game. It is dead, 100%.
To be fair to Tom, any Shadow Step also does a similar effect, but this is just insult to injury. Tyler's entire investment last turn has been thrown out the window.
In a series frankly littered with mistakes from both sides, it was reasonable to assume this very liberal use of Soul Mirror from Briarthorn was another misstep, but that couldn't be further from the truth. By stealing a Cabal Acolyte with said Soul Mirror, Briarthorn is able to set up a gorgeous play, utilizing Grave Rune on the stolen Cabal Acolyte to pilfer Frozen's entire board. A stunning setup and payoff from Briarthorn that secured his place in GM for another season.
What is Elune's will?
And still very quickly running out of cards. It has gone as worse as it possibly can for Frozen. This is the absolute latest possible in the game that Dragon Queen Alexstrasza can be active. His last 2 cards are Wand Makers. Now that's a bold Soul Mirror, Dan.
Life and
All right, here we go. Dragon Queen time.
Wait a
Great.
second, Daniel.
Oh.
He steals them both. He steals
He can
them
steal both.
He planned this.
Yeah.
He planned this.
I like it.
Forget what I said. He used the Soul Mirror because he wanted to have a Cabal Acolyte to be able to do this exact play. Grave Root into Wave of Apathy. Never seen a
Yeah,
better
you-
Priest Mirror player. Never seen one.
You didn't think that was gonna happen, TJ?
No, I didn't. I did not
Call
see
yourself
this.
the Briarthorn Whisperer.
I did not see that. Look at that. Look at it. He planned
It's
this.
great.
He used the Soul Mirror to kill a 6/5. A 6/5, something that Shadow of Death could do, just so he could have a Cabal Acolyte, a full health Cabal Acolyte. What a play.
Welcome back, everyone, to Hearthstone Grandmasters. It is our first day of playoff weekend, and we've done our playoff matches, at least for today, but we do have this relegation match to continue on with. Bunnyhoppor took down Viper in game number 1 in a grueling priest mirror that came down to a war between many, many dragons. But for now, we are going to move on to our game number 2, which is going to be Rogue versus Demon Hunter. And this, again, should be a good matchup for Viper's Demon Hunter.
It certainly should, yeah. But of course, it's hard to remember when you go through that grueling priest mirror. And in fact, it's quite amazing thinking about the stakes that, Viper ended that game kind of just cheerfully chuckling to himself about the fact that his Deathwing got Deathwinged, because, this is a series that could directly contribute to Viper being relegated from Grandmasters, and that was potentially a very brutal beating that he took at a brutal beat at least that he took at the end in the priest mirror from his perspective, but seems to be in good spirits about it, and now he does march forward and goes with the Demon Hunter this time around, although that appears to be a mage on the other side. Raven.
Oh, okay, that's fine. My information was incorrect. Doesn't matter. It must have been mage all along and I'm just an idiot. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, this matchup again can be pretty good for the Demon Hunter, but we have seen when it goes wrong and how it goes wrong. And it's when the mage just has either the one incredibly powerful turn, or if Demon Hunter just doesn't really have access to the AoE removal with the help of a weapon a lot of the time.
And this does seem to be our banner matchup of the day so far, Raven. We seem to be running through this one quite often in most series, with the Demon Hunter going up against the Mage.
Yeah, it's I actually like the matchup. I think it's very, very interesting just to see how players approach it, and a lot of the time that does come from the Mage side for me. Whether they try and hold off, whether they try and go super fast and hope the Demon Hunter doesn't have the earlier minions. Again, this is a little bit of a different one where Viper's Demon Hunter, unlike Bly's, for example, isn't running Battle Fiends, but Viper's actually running Magtheridon still. So this is a list I can definitely get behind as a fan of the big demon myself. Double Mana Giant in Bunnyhoppor's hand is definitely going to lead to a potentially clunky game here.
Yes, potentially clunky, but also equally potentially explosive based on what
Exactly,
the next couple of draws are for Bunnyhoppor. If you can pick up some magic tricks, or of course the ever-present evocation, then we can have an incredibly quick game here, as Viper currently does not have, well, there it is, did not have the Blade Dance to be able to deal with that situation if it did come down.
Tough call now for Viper, honestly.
Demons.
It'd be a straightforward Chaos Strike, but it wouldn't blow my mind to see actually the silence come into play here. Just gonna go for the Chaos Strike and carry on. Viper does definitely have some time to kill, doesn't he, in the next few turns, because nothing's really adding up too much right now. But again, neither is it for Bunnyhoppor, so I guess both players are a bit of an impasse here.
Yeah, and I think it's largely favoring Viper right now. Is that, if Bunny was spending these turns at the very least, like ripping more Primordial Studies and Magic Tricks and Rays of Frost and actually, getting those Mana Giants cheaper, then maybe we might have something to talk about. But right now, his hand is doing absolutely nothing, and those Giants are completely stranded in his hand. And as long as that remains the dynamic, Viper is going to have all the time he needs to, assemble just straight up damage, which is really all he needs because Bunny's not giving him a board to react to.
Again, very interesting turn because there is the option for the coin Marrow Slicer as the sort of level 1 power turn, but that does then strand the coin a little bit for this Skull of Gul'dan. I guess to an extent with Marrow Slicer and then I guess a fill turn potentially with Blade Dance next turn, it does get him into then Lapidary and then Skull. So
yeah,
could assume he's going to Blade Dance next turn, which I think on 4 mana, after not seeing really anything from Bunnyhoppor, that might be a fair assumption. So I wouldn't even hate the coin Marrow Slicer here, where normally I would generally hold on to it for a coin Skull turn.
Wait, so did you say you assume you are going to Blade Dance or aren't going to Blade Dance?
I assume that it could be likely that you would need to Blade Dance after not seeing anything really from Bunnyhoppor for a turn or so.
But what would those things be? Aren't you almost never going to need to Blade Dance on the following turn based on the way this game's panned out?
Potential. I guess he's not got a lot of cards. I'd be a little bit afraid of like the Apprentice Cyclone turn. Maybe that's something you'd want to Blade Dance.
Okay, sure.
And for me, it's the only turn that's like a question mark because then the rest of your turns are fantastic.
Well, that looks like it has an evocation inside it. Looks like it has to have an evocation inside it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Or not. Primordial Studies is decent, though.
It's a double discount, which is pretty huge.
Yeah, it opens up a few more playable options and more impactful options, at least.
Yeah. Upmage Thalnos.
Yeah, it's just card draw, isn't it? You don't even care about the spell damage at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I think anything to draw a card and get Bunnyhoppor closer to activating these giants.
Agreed.
Time runs out of.
Yeah, the double discount is pretty nice. Obviously, it's not evocation good, but the fact that the discovered Primordial Studies and then the discovered minion of the Primordial Studies essentially ramped him 4 mana that turn.
I mean, Bunnyhoppor can play a giant next turn. It might not be the best play in the world, but it's better than nothing, isn't it? Because at the moment, it looks like a whole lot of nothing's happening this game.
Yep. Absolutely agree.
This is
nothing
huge now, though.
Nothing comes off the top this turn. I think we might just be seeing that play from Bunny. Yeah.
It's pretty good, right? Into the weapon. Okay, it's not good because there's a weapon there, but generally it would require either the nuts, which is the Twin Slice plus Blade Dance, or like a face trade and Blade Dance.
Mm-hmm.
Because outside of that, the 8/8 doesn't really die. I guess the Glaive Bound, but again, that would warrant a face trade.
Yeah.
It's not a good giant, but it's definitely not a bad one in this situation.
It's better than playing a 2/2 this turn.
Yes, I agree. And letting your opponent hit you in the face for 9.
There is the Twin Slice draw, though. That's huge now for Viper. Viper has options. I think with double Lapidary in his hand, those options are pretty exciting.
What if he just Lapidaries and goes face? And then he has Lapidary, and then he has Lapidary coin Blade Dance the turn after.
Why do you want to lose the game to Conjurer's Calling so badly, Raven?
Would it lose it though if you've got Lapidary Blade Dance the turn after?
I mean, there can be 12 health minions, there can be Divine Shield minions, there can be Death Rattle minions, like...
The Twin Slice does make this look a lot better, though, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Means he doesn't have to face tank. Maybe he thinks he can face tank.
That's the debate, right? Like, you could
it's weird.
You could just glaive bound it and then just still have this massive blade dance built up for a later board.
Such a beautiful
I was going to go coin skull, then I was like, okay, I wasn't expecting that. I'm just going to go lapidary face tank.
Okay.
This puts, I guess, it utilizes the less flexible minion for maybe spot kills of, say, an apprentice.
Right.
If the ball goes wide, or later in the game, so on, so on. Many outcomes that can lead to that needing to be sniped. Viper's on 18 though, and although Mage doesn't generally have access to tons of burst damage, still being this far behind could be a problem. I think now, what if Bunnyhoppor uses the Apprentice plus Magic Trick and potentially One Maker to just get this Giant and Conjurers together next turn?
Yeah, I do kind of like it. I think Bunny has been suitably greedy with the Apprentice up until this point, but I think this is the time to just get that Giant nice and cheap. Based on what comes out of the One Maker and what comes out of the Magic Trick, this turn could be varying different degrees of good or bad.
Right.
He's actually just going to go straight up for the Giant again. Okay.
Such a beautiful shield.
Here comes the Blade Dance, and this was nicely engineered, honestly, from Viper to be able to milk that Blade Dance out for an extra turn. The fact he's killing the second Giant with the Blade Dance instead of the first one is just such a big difference, right?
And this is what's scary about that second Giant, and why I was talking about potentially trying to get them played together, because if that Giant does die, and it's still reasonably likely, right? Because there is a lot of cards with the weapon swing that allow it to die. Even if it was face tank, then your Conjurer's Calling is significantly worse.
That's true.
And you're still relying on the Apprentice to do something anyway.
You don't pick the one, see?
Desperately trying to find stuff to do here, but at the moment it's just not happening. Bunny does already have one Solarian Prime in the deck, so card draw is premium right now because we're kind of in that world already where he's going to need a miracle to dig his way out of the swamp. He's still a twin spell copy, so he's going to end with one Ray of Frost still in his hand. Viper largely can just proceed as normal here.
Yeah, now look at this Glaive Bound. Going to be pretty useful in just sniping this Sorcerer's Apprentice. Or, I think I still like the Glaive Bound here. Kind of like using a Twin Slice as well. Is that crazy?
Why? To what end? What does the Twin Slice do?
Kills off an actual image instead of just dealing 1 damage to it, and then you've got a random 1 damage image knocking around that you don't really want to deal with. I guess it might not be as big a deal because Kane exists now, but beforehand I think it was worth considering.
You do end up doing
double Glaive Bound. You've got so much damage.
Yeah. You do end up dealing 3 damage to it instead of 1, right? Because you have the Hero Power Mana available no matter what.
Yeah, it's dead versus not being dead, right? Yeah. I think it is the difference. Because then if you sink 1 into it, is he always sinking 1 into it next turn?
Right.
He's not spent his mana, Sottle.
Yeah.
Ooh. Dangerous ground.
Illegal. It's just not happening for Bunny, is it?
Is Bunny in a spot where he has to Conjurer's Call in his Solarian?
I kind of like it, yeah. I was just thinking
just
the same thing.
Next turn. I
was just thinking the same thing, yeah. It doubles the outs in his deck.
What to do?
He goes from 1 in 16 to 1 in 8.5. Like, it's pretty good.
You know what isn't pretty good? Staring at this Demon Hunter board and hoping to win the game.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just no other option, is there? He doesn't even have a reasonably mana-costed minion to try and conjure us for, like, you know, like double rush minions or something silly or anything like that. There's 2 drops or nothing, pretty much.
Right.
I will crush your delusions of grandeur.
All right, where's this going?
Oh, wants to missiles trade. Broom. He got broom. Yeah, that's sick.
All right, that is pretty sick. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just
I mean,
lethal.
like, yeah, this was all very nice, but I don't really feel like anything except drawing Prime off the top the next turn from Bunny was going to be good enough regardless.
Right.
So.
Because then what's the next turn, right? Like,
Yeah.
What is the draw? It just doesn't really exist or exist as often.
Yep.
But regardless, this is all of the damage in the world. Nice game from Viper there. And honestly, what's better after a long, drawn-out Priest Mirror and a nice palate-cleansing Demon Hunter? Punch him in the face a few times and win the game. So Viper has managed to even the series up.
Yeah, and that was a pretty miserable game from the mage side as well, right? From Bunnyhoppor's perspective, just double giant opening hand, which, you know, we've heard Derek banging the gong over and over and over again about certain hands you can keep giant with. You can see why a lot of people are put off from it, though, right? Where you get those giants stuck in your opening hand. If you don't hit exactly Apprentice Evocation, or, you know, there are combinations of cards. Like, if you just have, like, double Spellwing Opener and double Giant in your opening hand, there's a good chance those Giants are getting pretty cheap in the meantime anyway, just off the Arcane Missiles, Magic Tricks, Ray of Frost, whatever else you can find. But without those very specific hands, Giants in the opening hand do tend to just be a little bit too slow for most matchups, and we certainly saw that be the case there. But, yeah, I mean, still, one evocation away from a damn good time there for Bunnyhoppor.
Yeah, I do wonder, and again, I'm not the best mage player in the world by any means, but I do wonder if there was a realistic